The story means a lot to me. It's derived from a lot of experiences that I had in high school and in theater and in a particular relationship. But I wanted to ask some other questions that I've been experiencing now, and as we strive to do the best art that we can make, where does that line of going too far kind of where we find ourselves on that line? And so those are the kind of questions I wanted to ask. I think the uniqueness comes in the characters themselves of Charlie and of Daisy. They're both kind of two sides of myself in a sense.
I think what's probably most unique is just seeing my friends, especially kind of Nick, in the characters, and our kind of own personal pursuits and dreams and struggles kind of being reflected in those characters.
When I first sat down with Brigitta, we have this kind of sense already just built in since we've worked together, and just artistically, our styles match up very nicely. We wanted the lighting to be kind of colorful, and
we walked through those 25 pages of the script shot by shot a couple of different times.
We focused a lot on how the camera moved depending on where we were in the story, and so a lot of it's locked off when it's kind of calmer, it's kind of more romantic, it's kind of all fluid, and then when we start seeing the emotions building and the tensions rising, we switch to that handheld camera, and we just had a lot of fun planning that.
With Daisy and Daisy's house, it was a softer, very colorful, kind of whimsical feel to her house. It was just supposed to be very normal, very natural. Charlie, his house was a little more moodier, and then the theater was its own beast.
On set, it's mainly working with them to get the lighting right and managing lighting crew and helping out with camera crew. So
we went location scouting to Haley Rossi's house, which I've been to several times. However, it's nice to know once you're have a specific vision in mind how you're going to utilize the space, even if you've been there before. Pre-production 2 was a lot of talking with Nick about plan A, plan B, plan C of budget-wise, because you don't know what you're going to get, and my department's heavily dependent on budget.
We got really lucky with casting because I don't know, they're just such genuinely nice people, and they had such a good chemistry off screen as much as they did on screen, and there was a real genuine care and love between them and for everyone on set, and it was a really great atmosphere.
They emailed me about coming in and auditioning in LA. Walking in the room, I just had a feeling of the kindness and the warmth.
So going from pre-production to production was super hectic, and not hectic, but it was very nerve-wracking. It was very stressful, I think.
My job on playing ourselves was to figure out locations, to break down the script, to break down a budget so that we can fundraise, to contact actors about logistics, and do lots of paperwork.
So our first weekend we did a lot of the stuff where they're kind of, falling for each other, and then the second location, which is Daisy's house, which is our second day, it's kind of them beginning that journey and them talking about method acting essentially with each other, and then our last day was the kind of the scene that puts everything on its head. And so that progression kind of really worked because then the actors get comfortable with each other throughout the weekend, and then that downfall.
Actually, our first scene, the picnic thing.
It was so easy.
It was so sweet. It was so easy.
Very sweet.
It was the first experience we had. Actually, with that, I remember I was like, "Hey, watch your step," because it was a little slippery out there.
So good.
And I was like, "Watch your step." I literally said, "Watch your step." I turned around and went, "Whoo!" and I ate the dirt.
And I hope they kept it.
Oh,
I think they did, because we didn't retake after that.
We found this really pretty, I guess it's kind of a little bit of a forest. If you shoot it correctly, it looks like you're in the middle of a forest, and if you don't, you see the highway running right alongside you. There was a rose garden. Had to kind of work around a graduation photography shoot that was happening.
Felt like we were not at Balboa Park, which was really cool, to feel like you were somewhere else.
I was thrown into a location I'd do my job and I'd be thrown out and I'd just show up somewhere else. I was like, wow, did I teleport? Like, it kind of happens with those student projects because, you know, you're working really hard and you're staying really focused. We got some gorgeous shots in Balboa, like the stuff through the flowers was particularly my favorite.
One of my most memorable bits from Balboa was being in the rose garden, and Rachel takes the Polaroid with her camera and pulls it down. We're POV, so she's looking at us. It was beautiful.
I think the best thing from our first set, which was Balboa Park, was seeing Christian and Rachel's chemistry finally like come to life on screen.
I immediately connected with Daisy, and in my opinion, I think that she's coming at everything from a place of love. She did the wrong things, but for all the right reasons.
Everyone's human, and that's like, I think the greater meaning of this is we are literally playing ourselves.
So Lexi is our set decorator, and she did a fantastic job. I think Daisy's house, for me, was the most impressive. I just remember standing in front of the mantelpiece with like the little masks and the New York Post, and I was just like, Lexi, you're a genius.
I did really enjoy that set because there was a lot of coordination because we basically took out the entire room. I had a lot of people help me drag things out, put new things in, lighting came in, camera came in. It was just like, it was quick, it had to get done. I find these things that I didn't plan on putting in there, but like they work so well. Also too, in her living room, we have this scrapbook, photo book that she keeps negatives in. And there's a little scene in there where, you know, they take a look at those.
She just completely like gave the house a makeover. It looked totally different. It was amazing. I love watching Lexi work.
Mainly on set, I needed to listen to Brigitta, the DP, and make sure that things were set up and in place.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
No, that's Australian.
Then we go Andrew.
How do I say it?
Andrew.
Andrew.
My first time playing charades was on camera. They gave me the rules really, really quickly, and they're like,
Right, and we legit played.
okay, and we played.
We played.
We had this one shot. It was supposed to be a long orchestrated one take. We kind of ended up breaking it right in the middle, and we were able to separate them into two different shots.
We were shooting on a mechanical stabilization device called the Ronin, and we had an easy rig for it, which is an arm that reaches over my back, and that made it a little easier to operate because it took some of the Y weight off my shoulders.
We have this one shot that just goes through the entire house, and it's like no one could be there. It was a matter of, that was interesting for me too, because I had to make sure that like I was watching camera just like, okay, is there anything that I missed, like grabbing, because, you know, it's a long shot of the entire house.
Rachel walked in, and it was the house of her character, and anything that you can like give an actor to like work off of or to really immerse themselves into that environment is wonderful. And so there's like a kind of little reveal on the top of on the patio with like all these lights, and so when we turned the lights on, it was just like this array of stars.
There's a specific part where the actors are kind of dancing and like being a little flirtatious, and the B camera is kind of like swaying back and forth between these two lights, and then everything else is bokeh and out of focus, and it just looks really nice.
We shot Charlie's house at a Beechwood Motel in Oceanside that we basically just wanted to make look like a one-bedroom, well, like two-room apartment, essentially.
I remember showing up at the motel in Oceanside, and the first thing that ran through my head was, this is a lot smaller than I had remembered. And I think Nick, and I'm pretty sure everyone else had the same thought, which was great for the story, but also not if you're trying to have a whole crew operate and help work with you. We had a lot of fun lighting that as well, because it was night, so we had our moon. Michael and I had a couple different things going on in the kitchen.
Since like last year with senior projects, I was once again on B camera. The same people were on A camera this time were on A camera last year, and so we created like a little budding rivalry.
The rivalry with camera B team? Oh, there's rivalry? Oh, I didn't know there was any rivalry, because like, how could there be? It's A team. Like, there's no way that B team could ever come near A team. Like, they like whatever, like draw like stickers or some little cute stickers, and they try to stick them on people. Like,
I tape on like a different name for B camera, and then I got a few PAs and grips to follow along with it, and just kind of like with B cam propaganda and things like that.
Big whoop, I don't know.
The most notable thing from that set obviously was the nose break. Christian was at a point where he had to, kind of translate and come to terms with his anger, or in his character at least.
And in the middle of the take, he went to throw the lamp, but it didn't break, and it was on the floor, so he went to stomp on it. And I believe that in trying to stomp it, he lifted his knee up and put his head forward and gashed his nose. He broke his nose.
I'm refixing the lamp to prepare for the next take. He's like, I think my nose is broken. And I was like, oh no. We drove him to the nearest hospital. He's just kind of there in the car, and Andrew's like, it's okay, man.
I was supposed to break a lamp, and I missed, and I broke my nose instead. And it's still broken. You can see. I don't know if it's like...
No, you look good. It's healing.
Is it okay?
It's healing really nicely.
Great. That's good news. If you pick a fight with a lamp on set,
The lamp wins.
the lamp will always win.
Every time.
We had this little fun moment in Leah's apartment where we had to replace some bulbs in the hallway because there was a little bit of a lighting inconsistency.
So Michael's looking at it, and he's just like, well, it looks like we could unscrew it if we really wanted to, and there's some bulbs down there that look exactly the same. We can unscrew that one and just switch them out. So we were like, okay, we could probably do it without her knowing. Again, sorry, Leah. Michael went downstairs and started unscrewing the light bulb from downstairs.
Interesting trying to get up there and replace them, because Marielle had to basically get up on people's shoulders, and one of us lost our balance pretty quickly, and so we had to enlist somebody else's help.
I don't know, it was just one of those like behind the scenes, like, quick, do it.
Do you want to change a light bulb?
I feel like I've learned more from Michael than I have in like a couple different production classes that I've taken here over the 3 years. He's also another really like humble and very attentive kind of mind. He's always right there. I'm never like, where's my gaffer?
We had people working at the Art Center who were helping us move the rigs and turning them on and off, switching gels. They were fantastic. They were really, really helpful.
The theater was really exciting. It was huge, and I'm so grateful that we were able to actually have access to the lighting grid, because it would have been impossible to try to light that space.
My assistant camera team they were still learning. They're freshmen for the most part, and they were learning how to like build and break down the red camera and like work on the shoulder mounts and the Ronin as well. Like they could set that Ronin up in about 15-20 minutes. It was absolutely phenomenal.
I know everyone's really quick to say that Nick knows exactly what he wants, which he does. He's really flexible. He works really well under pressure. Like right then in the moment, if he wasn't directly working with the actors, he was right there helping out.
I love seeing his work come to life, and I love watching him work with actors. I learned so much myself as a growing director, watching him take his actors aside, walk them through things, blocking things out. He's a gentleman on set, so I always just love working with him.
He's so talented in what he does, so I don't really have to worry about like his end.
But he treats everyone with such respect and kindness, and he's very intentional in his direction.
If he was just the worst guy, which he just happens to be blessed with kindness,
he's kind.
and like the nicest guy in the world, but if he was the worst person,
You'd still
I'd
probably work with him, yeah.
like because he's
Don't tell him
right,
that.
right. Don't.
The balance is between being clear on what everyone's role is and what you're doing, and so I think we found that pretty well, and it was pretty well defined.
The main thing that I learned on playing ourselves is that you got to be prepared for pretty much anything. Filmmaking is problem solving, and that's the game, and you've got to be good at it.
This is an interesting set because there's a lot of very talented people on this set. Everybody feels comfortable enough to contribute where they can.
All of the artists that were working on this film, they all love what they do. They're good at what they do, and it shows. It makes it fun. Then we get to play.
It's kind of what's so darn beautiful about art is because you create a family. I mean, we could go on, I feel like, about every single person.
Yeah,
And it was
everyone.
just a grand delight.
It takes time. It takes, like I said, a lot of communication between departments and really trying to make it look like good quality.
Takeaways, a lot can go wrong, but you can still manage to get everything you need.
Through the stress, it's also important to think about why you're creating and why you are interested in producing in the beginning, or why you're interested in the story.
Usually at like the end of like the entire production, like the actors, the crew, everyone is like a little close-knit family, because we've come so far, but we've also had a lot of laughs and things like that. The only closing remark I have is B team is A team.
Sullivan has probably broken his nose. I don't know what the fate of the shoot is for the rest of the weekends, but we'll figure it out. We'll be fine.
Just fix it in post. Perfect.
All right,
Your
that's
editor's
not.
gonna love it.
That's not.
You're
It's
the-
gonna happen.
Nick can fix it in post. I've seen him do sky replacement. He can do this.
That's okay.
He's
this
done
is not-
lasers
this
too.
is, this is different.
He's done lasers too?
He's done lasers too.
Oh,
Yeah.
if he's done lasers, then this is easy peasy.
Ooh, that's great. What celebrity has a great nose? Give me that one. That'd be awesome.
I can't do that.
It's like a little button nose.
You should get Owen Wilson's nose.
Oh, Wilson.
Might not have to do VFX for that.